the third reading of anthology contributors from Teller Diorama. And all through these years, it's always been remarkable to me, the diversity of voices that we have and the great readers for every book. And the readings we've done so far for this book have been awesome and inspiring. And I know that what you're about to hear will be awesome and inspiring too. The readers of Teller Diorama. And let's get right to it. Tanya M. Beltran is a proud Bronx native who holds both an MAW and MFA in creative writing from Manhattanville College. She is a Bona fiction alumna, and in 2019 was awarded the Leon Levy Biography and Memoir Assistantship. When not writing, Tanya works as a regulatory publisher for the biotechnical industry. Her poetry can be found at First Literary Review East, the National Writers Union website, and Brevitas. Tanya M. Beltran. Take yourself off mute, Tanya.
Thank you, David. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Perfect. So the first poem I'll read is actually from the anthology. And it's called Fire Escape. Rust seeps through peeling paint of steel bars and bolts. Who says that when the red sun rises in July, this is not someone's porch? The first step to a teen's journey on top of the world, or at least the city, where boys snuck out before you knew you were gay, where girls sneak in before you tell your parents. A blank canvas to a crowded urban life, where fresh air has no price. That's Fire Escape. Breakups. Just like a ballerina, twirling off of the stage on her crunched toes tightly packed into silken straps, she spun out of my life. And like the audience with their mouths slightly ajar, seemingly wanting more, but eager to return home, I applauded her departure with the plie. The curse of writer's block. I'm uneasy. Fearing words will never return, yet eerily, they are always there, lurking, slithering their way onto walls, crawling into dreams, sneaking into reflections. Shadows of words unused haunt me because I ignore their cry to exist. This one is called Autobiography. I mean, I kind of started writing about writing, right? What better way to get it out? Autobiography. Curtains wide open, blinds rolled up, lights put on at dark for the voyeur to see. Line after line after line after line written to read, but also to read in between. Writing about the dead. I care that my words will somehow affect any remnant, any particle, any speck of dust that still belongs to you. Therefore, I sit beneath a weeping willow, closing my eyes, awaiting a sign that although gone, you may still approve. Suddenly, a cloud, a breeze, and then a songbird sings. At last, I say, I begin to read. Chapter 2 is right on cue. David, I'm correct. We have 8 minutes, roughly, about.
Exactly right, Tanya. And you're doing great.
Awesome. This one is called aromatherapy. Distinct aromas of a freshly lit match and brewing coffee fill the apartment's morning air. A sister inhales the stress-relieving steam before the smoke clears. With every drop, yesterday's worries filter, dissolve, making room for healing. What is decided? A dead brother deserves his wake. What is necessary? An unpaid Con Ed bill stays unpaid. Next is In the Rain. In the rain, the whiff of wet concrete reminds your city's soul that beneath the cemented grass still grows, that roots to trees planted in Central Park stretch their way to the Norwood part of the Bronx. It may not be true, but beneath the 50-year-old chewed up gum now as black as tar, beneath the imprints of steel-toe boots and Air Force Ones, beneath the dog shit, the litter, the carelessness and critters, nature takes her course. Adjacent to the tenants and tourists sharing the rigid molded streets, roots break free from the man-made restrictions somehow. I'll read this last one, David. I don't know how much time I have, but this will be my final one. Going to fix a flat in 1992, excuse me. Between a big red commercial and Bob Barker, the sigh of my father's failure in combing my hair signals that my tire is ready to be fixed. We speak of nothing in silence as our 6-mile hike begins on Kingsbridge. Plop, 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 my deflated wheel adds to the constant sounds of honking Lincoln Town cabs and hissing buses and the vulgar language of pedestrians entering and exiting the roaring 4 train from above our heads. Halfway through the trek, we pass Yankee Stadium, then we gear left, and for some reason, the crowd goes wild. Our mission continues. To my father's surprise, the Hunts Point bike shop is out of business. To my delight, the candy shop is not. We turn around to head back home. Another 6-mile walk begins. I spit out 1-cent gum made in China like tobacco going out of style, flavorless after a few chews. A plastic bag happily swings from the handlebars. I dig in, then shove countless pieces into my mouth. Plop, plop, plop. There was only one care in the world. Who won Plinko? Thank you.
Let's hear it for Tanya M. Beltran. Yeah, Tanya.
Yo, BX, all right.
All right. Yes, fam.
Way to start it out. Way to start it out. Okay, that's great. We're going to go to the reading. The reader I have scheduled after Tanya. And then if John Paul is ready, we'll put him on then. He can give me a thumbs up or down on that. But in the meantime, Timothy Gager is the author of 15 books of fiction and poetry, including his latest, Spreading Like Wildflowers. He hosted the Dyer Literary Series in Cambridge, Massachusetts, from 2001 to 2018. It's actually now back on Zoom again, I happen to know. And he was the co-founder of the Somerville News Writers Festival. Timothy is the fiction editor of Wilderness House Literary Review and the founding co-editor of Heat City Literary Review. A graduate of the University of Delaware, Timothy lives in Dedham, Massachusetts, with some fish and 2 rabbits, and works as a social worker. Let's bring on Timothy Gager.
Thanks, David. And boy, it's a real honor to read with everybody. Tanya, great stuff. Enjoyed your poems a lot. So this is a great journal. So people that might be watching this either now or later that don't have it, pick it up. And it's actually really kind of fun to flip around and read along with the people that are reading today. So if you're doing that either now or later, I'm on page 94. It's a piece of flash fiction. The Resigned Life of a Condo Trustee. The Department of Public Works phones me about the army of trash marching in the yard of one of the units. It started as a few pieces of a living room, then it humped into more, a Frigidaire with door attached. The dining room table with smashed chairs looking victim to an axe murderer. It's growing and becoming more powerful. It's choking the neighborhood. I say, I know a few things. It reminds me of the Bronx in the 70s. It shouldn't, this is Dedham, but all we need is shirtless children bouncing on the springs of a stripped down mattress. I know this firsthand because I saw a film when I studied sociology in college during that time period when I was too scared to actually visit the Bronx. It is Dedham, she says. The owner's from Brookline, I say. Money. He can go dump it in other places. They closed the Dedham transfer a few months ago. COVID? No disrespect, she says. We can drive our trash elsewhere, not in our neighborhood. That's how it is in Boston, I says. We don't need a research study to know that. She hangs up. I get another call from the Board of Health. The abandoned dishwasher looks dangerous. It's on the lawn with a knife. Isn't it just sitting there, I ask? It's dangerous, and if the dishwasher runs outside with a knife, the police will get involved. I get involved instead. I call the unit's owner's voicemail and Mr. White, the realtor, trying to sell all the open units. He can't do anything about the trash. White says his people have no interest in living there. Oh, it's a fine neighborhood. Until the trash arrived, White interrupts. I know how it is, I says. It will take a lot to do that. We may need to involve the courts, but the courts aren't hearing anything because of the pandemic. Let me see if anything can be done. Put on a mask and walk around the corner and see the pile has expanded. An old wedding dress sits in the dirt, and every so often, the white chiffon catches the wind, making it a tumbleweed. Another new addition is a rusted old Volkswagen, which has an extension cord running from one of the units into a small refrigerator located in the back seat. Hey, I yelled at him. Fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask, he yells back. That's not what I was going to say. And I'm not quarantined 2 weeks either. I intend to leave here and go to the store. It's my right. Okay, I tell him and walk back home, the filing cabinet my destination. When I return, I give the man in the Volkswagen a folder. Here you go. The rules and regulations for the associations are there, so please follow them. The condo fee is due the 1st of every month, and it's considered late on the 15th. And in the wintertime, when it snows. Thank you so much. Look forward to hearing everybody else.
Let's show your love for Timothy Gager.
All right.
Bringing it on with the mass whole work. Okay, and thank you, Timothy, for the kind words about the book. And I'll remind everybody out there that if you're curious to read a little bit more about the book or our past books, you can go to greatweatherformedia.com, our beautiful website, to see what we're up to. And now on with the reading again. John Paul Davis is a poet, musician, and programmer. His first book, Crown Prince of Rabbits, was published in 2017 by Great Weather for Media. Take yourself off mute so we can hear John Paul Davis.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I was late. I am going to read the poem that is in the anthology. It's called Smaller on the Outside. From outside the universe, it must not look infinite, which means its infinity goes inward, like yours, like mine, like everything ever. Rocks rock from the inside, for instance, their quantum bits, coy and shimmying as much as yours. Time lapse 1 billion years per second and rocks ripple and flow like liquid. Solids are just very slow motion. Even sitting still, I am burning through the solar system and tugged toward the planet's core and rotating around its axis like all the other matter on its surface. Don't you feel dizzy? My infinity curves inward too. All my parts made of parts which have parts made of parts. I'm less than the sum of them because they're infinite and I'm not, because they move without being moved, all my particles and their particles. I am made of dancing, made entirely of dead things, yet I am alive. What you see is a map of what happened to me, the tale of how my beard grew, where I got this scar, how I tweaked my trick knee. I am a story that doesn't end. Even when what you think of as me is dead, everything I'm made of, I'll exist still. How else could those who survive me go on loving me? I'm not a soul in a body. I'm a shell wrapped around a ghost, a brief wink before the eye opens, the hammer that strikes the bell before the long now ringing. Do I have time to read another poem?
Absolutely. Each reader gets a total of 8 minutes. So I think you might have 5 minutes left.
Okay, awesome.
If you
one
want
of the things, pardon? Oh, okay.
If you want it, you can have it.
Okay, thank you. Zooms. I am in the process, I'm almost done writing a poem a day, every day for 2021. I have written 300 poems so far, 301 poems so far, excuse me. So I'm gonna read a couple of those. This is from 2 days ago. It's called On the Occasion of Last Year's Pants Fitting This Year Exactly as They Did Then. I'm always changing. Television and the films had me seeing life as a plot with me at the center, the one the camera loves most of all. But this isn't a story. Things don't settle down at the end of every season. The commercials and magazines suggest balance, as if balancing isn't the hardest kind of work with a fall on either side of perfect. Maybe these pants will be small in 3 months or too large. If my shape isn't different then, they'll soon be. Entropy will come knocking, calculator in hand, tabulating the depreciation, and one day a hole will appear that can't be repaired, or the zipper will derail. For now, the pants are one of the planks in my life's Argo I don't need to replace. But there's a new splash of silver in my beard, a peculiar pinch in my inner elbow, and I was 2 inches shorter the last time the nurse took my height, which she could not explain, but see line 1 above. As long as you're okay to keep behaving as if this grouping of cells, none of which existed 7 years ago, is the same being named John Paul Davis, I'm game too, but my voice might be a different flavor, my thoughts a wilder color. Since the last time you saw me in person, all manner of strange and new light has planted itself in my eyes. Okay, I will read. You know what? I will read the poem that I wrote for today that has not yet been published to the website where I publish the poems once I get done writing them. So this is a world premiere.
No shit.
No one else even knows this poem exists yet. That's how new it is. All right. My son gives me a lift home. I remember when he couldn't sleep unless he was held. Rocking him and singing Paul Simon off key, then feeling his little body noodle into rest and the deep frame shaking sigh right before his breathing changed. And he was wherever we go when we fall asleep. Last night, With no taxis and miles from my bed, I asked him for a ride. Sure, he texted back. I get off work in 20 minutes. And exhausted from 8 hours washing dishes, he piloted his little used economy car while we chatted like any two dudes about music, the terrible football team, and the future, which that late at night was always an unseeable patch of dark just beyond the headlights, always exactly where we're headed. We made brunch plans. When we hug now, our ears touch. I can feel the strength of his arms and against my chest, the splash of the heart I first heard in a sonogram before he had a name. Thank you so much.
John Paul Davis, everybody. Can I guess the bad football team?
No.
You must know it's the,
We know.
It's the Orange High School Panthers. They're terrible. The Alamance County Eagles beat them by like 50 points or something the other night.
Did not know. I assumed it was the Jets. Please accept my apologies. John Paul Davis, everybody. Hey, you know, when we put together these anthologies, we always try to find a cover image that matches the tone of the book, and it always is going to grab people's eyes when they walk by the book selling tables and all that. And the creator of the image on our 2021 anthology has entered the Zoom. And I would like to say hello to Amy Breyer. Amy, hi, thanks for coming to the reading.
Oh, well, thank you. Yay.
Amy, do you have your cast with you today like you thought you would?
I'm at home and a little late and kind of unprepared, but I invite you guys to go to my website where you can see everything.
Isn't that called amybreyer.com?
Yes.
Amy is actually a sculptor, and this is a photo. I think you took the photo, didn't you?
No, it was a professional photo. And,
all right.
And I just want to say I'm really honored to be on your cover with a lot of great work, and I appreciate and enjoy writers and writing. So it was really great when David got a hold of me and we started talking about putting something on the cover. I never would have had this opportunity without that connection from long ago at Boston University.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, this is a creation by Amy. It's a series called The Rolliquaries, and I think they sit on like a base that has the sand, and they make impressions in the sand, which you can see on the cover.
Yeah, the whole purpose of those is to sort of they're interactive. So the point is that the viewer rolls the ball in the sand and creates the pattern, so they are part of the creative experience.
And Amy does a lot of that kind of thing, so make sure that you do go and take a look at amybreyer.com. Amy Breyer in Indiana, where she works on that Indiana limestone.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Amy. And now back to the reading, folks. Joel Allegretti is the author of, most recently, Platypus, NYQ Books 2017, a collection of poems, prose, and performance texts, and Our Dolphin, Thrice Publishing 2016, a novella. His second book of poems, Father Silicon, The Poets Press 2006, was selected by the Kansas City Star as one of 100 noteworthy books of 2006. He is the editor of Rabbit Ears, TV Poems, NYQ Books 2015. And now it's time for Joel Allegretti to take himself off mute and knock our socks off. Joel?
Thank you, David, and thanks to all the members of the super press, as I said in my Facebook announcement about this, Great Weather for Media, for including me in this anthology. I love the title, Paper Teller Diorama, Wish I Had a Baby Llama. I'll start with my poem in the book. Wild Birds Unlimited, for Brian Geisen. A suddenly dark sky. A sky suddenly dark. Suddenly a dark sky. A moving sky. A sky moving. A suddenly moving sky. A sky moving suddenly. Suddenly a sky moving. A moving dark sky. A dark moving sky. A dark sky moving. A dark suddenly moving sky. A dark sky suddenly moving. A dark sky moving suddenly. A suddenly dark sky moving. A suddenly dark moving sky. Suddenly a dark moving sky. A moving sky suddenly dark. Suddenly dark, moving, a sky. My tarantella, yours too if you like. These are the grapes, honey sweet grapes I picked from the vine to crush for my wine, and these are the marks of the bite of the fangs that hide in the grapes at home on the vine. And these are my feet, my maniacal feet, and this is the dance I'm driven to dance by the bite of the fangs concealed by the grapes I pulled off the vine to press for my wine. The form of that poem was inspired by The Dance by William Carlos Williams. This next poem appeared in the Westward Expansion issue of Sensations magazine. It was in section 2, The Purge of Native Americans from Their Homeland, 1830 to 1890. The poem is called Ghost Dance Song. The Ghost Dance was a religious cult that originated with the Northern Paiutes in Nevada in 1869, 1870. Believers performed a ritual to drive the white invaders away and restore the traditional way of life. Later, other tribes took up the ghost dance. The poem employs the form of genuine ghost dance songs. We are singing to the Father. We are singing to the Father. We were driven from our land. We were driven from our land. Father, do you hear? Father, do you hear? We are singing from our graves. We are singing from our graves. The Father tells us. The Father tells us, out on the windy plains, out on the windy plains, 1,000 bison grieve for us, 1,000 bison grieve for us. Ghost Dance Song. Dorothy at 50. After the winged monkeys, bats in the hayloft. The witch in her life, Grand Aunt Portia. She follows the brown dirt road and arrives at the general store. There's no place like home. No matter how many times at night she clicks her heels, she wakes to scramble eggs for a man who has yet to go 10 miles beyond the farm. Ask what she misses the most, and she'll say, the poppy field. Dad's whiskey doesn't cut it. Halloween is nigh. Here's a poem for the occasion. It's about an individual who wandered the streets of Paris in the middle of the night till the middle of the 18th century. Bellman of the Dead. His clanging comes at 1 o'clock, commencing at the shuttered market, faint at first, more a clink than a clang, like sugar tongs against a teacup, sweet and delicate, a confection for the drowsy ear. It does not intrude on us. His clanging comes at 1 o'clock, the clanging billows at our windowsills. It startles rats into gutter asylums and cats into the comfort of shadows. It heaves against our bedroom walls and tears at our nightshirts to wrest us from our dreams. His clanging comes at 1 o'clock. He moves like a charnel house vapor. He reeks of a solitary piety. We see the femurs and the tibias woven into his shabby sleeves, the craniums embellishing his cowl. His shoes are fouled with muck. Reverence has calloused his heels. His clanging comes at 1 o'clock, and with the clanging comes his clamor. Awake, awake, awake for the dead. The dead implore your prayers. Descend to your knees, cripple your fingers with rosaries, scorch your throats with Ave Marias. Pray for the dead, pray for the dead. His clanging comes at 1 o'clock. He rattles our repose. He sunders our copulations. Our pillows are confounded by the sudden absence of our heads. We engrave the darkness with paternosters and miseradres for the admiral who eased the hunger of the sharks, for the blacksmith slut of a wife, for the doctor's stillborn daughter, for the pauper dead and pauper fields, for all the named and nameless dead, for the dead, the dead, the dead, the dead. His clanging comes at 1 o'clock. We are weary of the dead. The dead do not hear us. The dead do not thank us. The dead do not indulge us, but we indulge the dead. These prayers we pray, these prayers we proffer at the prodding of his din, we submit as well to our own selves, for they remind us and reassure us that we are alive and have not yet died when his clanging comes at 1 o'clock. And I'll wrap it up with a little one, tiny. I started with birds, I'll end with birds. Goodbye, doves. They vanish in the glare of the noon sun, chalk marks erased from the sky.
Joel Allegretti, everybody, show your love. Thank you, Joel. Emma V. Ginader is a bisexual writer and freelance editor from Northeastern Pennsylvania. She recently graduated from Columbia University with an MFA in writing. Her poetry has appeared in Lavender Review, Mantis, December, Moth Magazine, and The Rational Creature, among others. Emma previously worked as online poetry editor for the Columbia Journal and as social media editor and business reporter for the Daily Item newspaper in central Pennsylvania. Coming to us today from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Emma V. Ginader.
Thank you. Thank you for publishing my work, and thank you for hosting this. I'll begin with the poem that was published in the anthology, Psyche Corpulent with Beauty. 1. When I was a girl. My girth alone feels bigger than Aphrodite's temples. People see me coming and drop to worship. My breasts slope into overflowing waterfalls, my stomach round and perfect enough to be the moon. I love my butt, my belly full and caressing my breath, and every new stretch mark, a wonderful surprise. I love how silk caresses over my hips, like waves or hills seen in mist. I love how I feel warm, always inside myself, how I can compress my thighs into orgasm. But men's eyes make me wish to be thin, so I can slip through cracks. Too beautiful to carry off, I break men's backs. Only the wind can carry me. Instead, they look and never touch. I want someone, fat as me, to love, to relax into. Our bodies becoming one large land, a mountain range larger than anyone can climb, can see all of. 2. I descend to earth for a day, and they all call me a cow. Say I'll break the pavement or rip a shirt with a single flex. I sat enjoying the sun, and someone skated by, called me thunder thighs. I thought he was saying my thighs were as powerful as Zeus cracked lightning, so I thanked him. He gaped at me, confused, and crashed into a trash can. 3. I rant to my husband. I wish they didn't make me skinny. I used to want to hide my body. Now I want fat girls to know they are beautiful and adored too. Now I want skinny girls to know men have always done this to us. I want all women to see what a body can be, theirs alone. Thank you. That was written about the complexities of desirability. And the next, since this is Halloween Eve, I thought I would go for an eerie poem next. This was published in Vox Viola earlier this year, Palimpsest. Horses across the road ran in circles inside an electric fence, where a man built an illicit school for his daughters. His horses ate their own shit, wife and daughters crammed into stables. Sometimes we trespassed with baby carrots stuffed into our jean jacket pockets and held the horses' soft noses through the fine white wire. One day, these neighbors drove off in a station RV pulled by their horses. The lot stood empty, so we held a Christmas party. Another man wore the name of my friend, but not his face, and I wondered if I had always seen him wrong. Thank you.
Emma V. Ginader. Thank you, Emma. Tim Hanson lives in Santa Monica, California. His short fiction has appeared in I Let Go of the Stars in My Hand. Yay, Great Weather for Media, 2014. Coffin Bell Journal, Cease, Cows, Into the Void, and Funicular Magazine. It's time, all the way from the West Coast, for Tim Hanson. Tim, take yourself off mute.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, David, and everybody at Great Weather for Media for publishing another piece of mine in this beautiful, beautiful book. So I'm thrilled with this book. I'm really enjoying it, and everybody's reading today is terrific. Thank you. I went into the pandemic. I was doing a public library presentation with a friend of mine on Beckett back in February of 2020, and like 8 or 9 months later, when we were in the midst of the pandemic, I was doing these audio improvisations in the middle of the night. I would wake up and go to a microphone and just start improvising, and then later turning them into short prose pieces. So anyway, that's what this is, and I'm going to read online because I can't see in the book. So let me find it again. Where did I do with it? Here it is. Okay, Tofales, Beckett reflux, and Tofales is of course a reference to Beckett's footfalls. We hold the light between our teeth and move through silent space, enveloped in darkness, lost, and yet move exactly in the direction we're meant to move, never faltering for an instant. All we see before us are flashes of space that exist inside the light. Outside, the darkness is a mystery, always a mystery. We can never see it. Only what is before us, only what is meant to be seen, what we must see, and so we move. And so the dark persists, and the chill. We wait for warmth, we wait for succor, we wait for a voice to speak to us. We wait for an ear to listen to us, wait for a presence, we wait in an absence, we wait in a void, we move through absence, we move through silence, we move through void. Or are we the silence? Are we the absence? Are we the void? Are we the void and the darkness that envelops another, that envelops a presence? Is there a presence, a breathing, thinking, feeling presence that we encase like stone or ice or flesh? Are we inanimate? Does the inanimate exist somewhere within us? Are we anything? Have we been anything? Will we be anything? Are we something waiting to become, or have we become it? And is there something else waiting to become from us? Where to turn? Can I turn? Can we turn? Are we we? Are we they? Are we them? Have we been them? Will we be them? Have they been us? Can there be more than one? What is one? What is more? What is can? What is what? What? Are we a question? Or are we an answer? Are we an answer that asks another question, or a question that provides another answer? Do we have feet? Do we have legs on which we can walk? Are we capable of motion? Do we know what motion is? Does motion move us, or do we move it? Or do we work in tandem? Darkness envelops us. We envelop darkness. There is silence here. No one speaks to us. No one calls to us. No birds sing to us. Silence. In the night, our insides speak to us, speak from our guts, send messages throughout our torsos, out into our limbs, down into our toes, where they glow. The messages glow and pulse signals to us, which our eyes then interpret, but they can't, they don't understand them. The messages, the signals are indecipherable, but it goes on like this all night long. We try to squelch them. We cover our feet in piles of sand as high as we can get them. Doesn't help. Our toes still blink erratically, insistently, madly. We close our eyes, cover them with our hands. Still, we see the light. Still, we see the blinking. Still, we do not understand it. We're not capable of interpreting it. We hear something. It is not a voice. It is the engine that runs everything. It switches on and off at random times. We rely on it. We believe it's what keeps us going. We don't know that it doesn't, or that it does. If it were to stop permanently, would we stop? All of us at once, or maybe individually, or in waves, or some other pattern we don't recognize. Our toes are telling us something. If only we could understand. If only our toes could bypass our eyes and speak directly to our brains. Our penny would have grown inward. We can't hear light. We listen now. We listen in, all the way in. We listen to the engine, to its whir, to its hum, to its beat. Now it's as if there were speakers implanted in our heads. The deafening roar pounds against the chambers of our skulls, but we listen. We have no other choice. We can't choose to not listen. We can't mute or block the noise, turn our outside in ears out. It's incessant and intermittent. It's incessantly intermittent. It's intermittently incessant. I wonder if I have a spine. My back hurts. Wouldn't that indicate a spine? Or is it a pain in the nerves, muscles, the fabric of my back? We hold the light in our eyes, and sometimes we hold it backwards, and then we're blinded when we move in blindness, not through darkness, but through light that is so intense we can't see, and we stumble. I grope against the light in all directions. I reach for others. I reach for help. I reach for someone to steady me, to guide me. I feel nothing. There's nothing to grasp, no one to clutch. I want to grasp, nothing to hold on to, and I wait. I wait for it to change. Given a choice, I'd rather move through the dark with light between my teeth pointing outward. This blinding inner light, it's almost insufferable. I want to cry out. When I try to cry out, I can't, but my gut speaks to me through my toes, and it's all deafening and blinding, and yet I can breathe. If I couldn't breathe, what would I do? It's just breath that keeps me going. No, I don't want to breathe anymore, but I can't stop it. No matter how hard I will it to stop, it will not stop. I can't make the engine stop either. It has its own will, like my breath. There's no sleep here. I'm tired, exhausted, weary. I want to rest. But I don't know what rest is. I've never experienced it. Perhaps I'm rest. Perhaps I'm the rest that I'm supplying to something else, to someone else. That's my job. That's my reason for existence. I'm the rest that is provided to weary others. They don't know me. They wouldn't recognize me if they saw me, if they could see me, if sight were possible, if sight was, nor could they hear or feel me, but they know me. These are all possibilities, improbable possibilities. I think I don't exist. I think I'm nothing. And it is all around me and inside me, speaking to me, tormenting me, terrorizing me, guiding me. Where? Where am I going? Where have I been? Yes. Silence again. This I can hear, a barrage, a chorus, sentences unfinished, sentences begun and unfinished, sentences that halt after one or two words, or in the middle, or just before the end, sentences that begin as questions and end in vagueness, sentences that begin vaguely and never end. These words express. What does express express? What is express? What is what? Sometimes I move backward. The illuminated space recedes. It seems to go on and on forever in reverse, away from me in perpetual retreat, as if I were being drawn back into something that preceded me, the me that preceded me, or back into the we that preceded us, back into us, as if I were being sucked back into the womb, and that womb were being sucked back into another, and then another, and another, and on and on and on, back to the first womb. How can there be a first? What is first? Might it not also be the last? Thank you.
Tim Hanson. Wow. Worthy of Sam himself.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Anton Yakovlev's latest poetry chapbook is Kronos Dines Alone from Sir Vision Books, winner of the 2018 James Tate Prize. He is also the author of Ordinary Impalers, Kelsey Books, 2017, and two prior chapbooks. His poems have appeared in The New Yorker, Posit, The Hopkins Review, Measure, and elsewhere. The Last Poet of the Village, a book of translations of poetry by Sergei Yesenin, was published by Sensitive Skin Books in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Anton Yakovlev.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Great Weather for Media. Great to be here, really enjoying hearing everybody. So my poem, which is on page 113, is called Ghost of Slain Elephant, Comes Back to Haunt Galatea. And for a brief sort of obligatory context, in the myth of Pygmalion and Galatea, Pygmalion is the sculptor who created the sculpture of Galatea that came alive. And the sculpture was made out of ivory. So this poem is written in alternating voices. And we have our guest reader, Vera Kelman, poet, filmmaker, actress, who will be reading the part of Galatea, and I will be reading the part of the elephant. So, Ghost of Slain Elephant comes back to haunt Galatea.
It must have been a certain slant of light, and the vintage elephant cufflinks my lover wore. The moment I nodded off in his arms, an elephant showed up, grave and gold and glowing, booming. Is this the woman my tusk has become?
In Brookline Village, a barbaric artist procured actual ivory for his sculpture. I've been haunting his basement for months, waiting to take back what used to be on my face. But now it has been turned into a live woman. Now what do I do?
There is no amicable resolution. The tusk for which you gave your life is now my body. We both want it, and we are both right. But you're dead, and I'm still kicking. And might just kick you back into the beyond.
At this point, I'm beyond reclaiming my tusk. I just want to make her uncomfortable, that's all. Let her imagine what it would be like if she found herself living on my face, flapping in the wind, head first, as I run around.
Pygmalion took me to the zoo. I wasn't sure why I stood transfixed for hours in front of the cages where elephants played. Then he told me why. Damn this body, damn this beating heart. I try to turn myself back into ivory, but I bleed.
There comes a moment after you've been dead for a while when you no longer miss yourself in the flesh. Other types of angst flood the mind. For me, it's the feeling of guilt that I was the only one whose tusk came alive, while my comrades remain as statues and piano keys.
Midway through my transformation, Pygmalion fell out of love and the transformation was halted. It's like I'm some mermaid, ivory from the waist down and breathing human from the torso up. And now this elephant barges in and has questions for me.
Nations clash upon a single region, each having roots there, unable to coexist. How history repeats itself. Sometimes I force myself to walk past Pygmalion's house and not break in at seeing Galatea inside.
I stand outside my body, pondering the relationships I've had. Pygmalion was the first, but not the last. We just didn't mesh. The spark went out, and after a while, when we kissed, all I could hear was the clashing of bones in our mouths.
I go to Brookline Reservoir late at night, pretending I can still drink the fresh water, sitting down in the bushes, catching glimpses of My Fair Lady at the drive-in theater nearby, trying to figure out who the elephant is in that story.
Condo fees forced me to freelance some song lyrics. The single Ivory Virgin is climbing the charts. I'm astonished at the enthusiasm of the public. Does everyone wish they had come out of an elephant tusk? Does everyone fear they were born of murder?
Venus granted Pygmalion's wishes over a sacrifice. They must have burnt a small animal at the ritual. I'd like to meet that animal, the other dead who made Galatea. I hope it's not a mouse. We could sit holding our feet and not talk about it. Thank you, Vera, and thank you, Great Weather for Media. Thank you.
Anton Yakovlev and Vera. Thank you. I realized I kept myself off mute, so you got reaction noises from me, but I didn't mean it. Hilary Sideris has published poems in the American Journal of Poetry, Bellevue Literary Review, Free State Review, Gravel, Momeg Review, Rhino, Salamander, Sylvia, and Women's Studies Quarterly, among others. She is the author of several books, including The Inclination to Make Waves, Big Wonderful Press, 2016, Un Amor Veloce, Kelsey Books, 2019, and The Silent Bee, Dos Madres, 2019. Her most recent collection, Animals in English, was published in 2020, also by Dos Madres Press. Hilary Sideris.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Jane and David. Thank you so much. You are such lovely hosts, I have to say, and it's a beautiful anthology, inside and out. Very honored to be in there, and I remember reading it on the beach and having such a great time the day it arrived. I just remembered cracking up while I was reading Anton's piece. I'm going to read 4 poems. The first one is from a book of all 4-letter word titles, except some of them were 5-letter word titles. And this one it's called North. And it starts with a dictionary definition from Merriam-Webster: the direction of the North Terrestrial Pole, the direction to the left of one facing east. oh, and I should say that it is spoken to my husband who's from Rome, north. In your country, as in mine, the ones above look down on those below, top notch to rock bottom. North outranks south, though it declines to mean, depends on what you face. Rome slams Naples, Milan shuns Rome. I like how in Italian I can say, continuo a non capire. I continue to not understand. Earth spins at a tilt. How else? There's no upright in space. And I'm going to read my poem from the anthology. It's on page 13, and it's called Lockdown. From my 7th story window, I can see her bright pink high tops, hear her say, stop following me, leave me the fuck alone, under the green scaffold across Beverly Road, where men in masks work on the bricks, or did. I have 2 other poems that were written during the pandemic period. So this is new, somewhat newer work. Cuddle Buddy. Oh, I should say that Our Time is a dating website for older people, for mature people. It's spelled A-U-R, time. Cuddle Buddy. You tested positive. We live in separate rooms. My mother emails shit about her Our Time date who wants a cuddle buddy. Sprawled on the damp love seat with brain fog, you take calls from scam likely, watch a spotted ocelot catch river rats, say, it's unfair, you get the bed, but you have the remote. This is the last one I'll read. Dust. Night comes faster in September when the bank is on the phone and I'm explaining again how my New York sports club closed, how I stopped leaving home, how hard I tried to end my membership. By now, I'm yelling across the world at an associate who says, I understand, so sorry to hear, like all HSBC associates before and after her. In sleep, I grind my teeth to fine powder, dreaming of bodies in the towers, pulverized as each floor fell on the one below. I watch it all crumble on hold while my associate contacts disputes. The narrow downtown streets, survivors fleeing like ghosts through clouds. Even the leggy mannequins in Wall Street shops, hip deep in it. Thank you.
Hilary Sideris, everybody, show your love. And it's interesting how you say, that you cracked the book and Anton's poem made you laugh, because the first time I read Anton's poem, and that was reading it in a submission, I broke down crying. I'm not ashamed to admit. I don't know what that means, but anyway. Anthony Morales is a Bronx-born Nuyorican poet, educator, and father who currently resides in Maryland. His work has appeared in Birds Fall Silent and The Mechanical Sea, Great Weather for Media, Poetry Magazine, Manteca, an anthology of Afro-Latin poets, HBO's Deaf Poetry, Acentos Review, Asterix, and The Breakbeat Poets, Volume 4, Latinx. His collection, Nada o Más Nada, will be published in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Morales. Anthony, take yourself off mute. All right.
Yo. Peace and blessings, everybody. It's an honor, a pleasure. I am enthralled and over the moon just to be here. Thank y'all so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for publishing me. I feel like Great Weather Media is a home where I feel comfortable sharing my work in the sea of a lot of other things that I don't want to share my work at. So I want to share it here. It's a conscious decision. And big up for the other things, you know what I'm saying? The behind the scenes, all the other things that, good looking out. And this ends up being that poem that's on page 36 in Paper Teller Diorama. And I appreciate y'all just for championing my work. As writers, we know that it's a lonely world out there. So big up for that. So this poem comes directly. I'm gonna give all the credit to my son, Amari Morales, because he literally told me this poem and it's really from him. So beyond. Did you know at the center of every galaxy is a massive black hole and no one can survive in that middle? There is no gravity or light or love or whatever you need to survive. The limits of death is called event horizon. On the other side, to escape, you have to run faster than the speed of light. And although scientists say that's impossible, didn't God create heaven and hell and everything in between? So then, if you are ever trapped, no, you not, because all you have to do is close eyes and expand at the speed of the universe, stretching further than we can imagine. Cool, huh? What about when two black holes collide? What you can hear in a vacuum sounds like a chirp. And listen right now, Poppy, how many birds are singing at once, all together, as those two black holes smash and signals shooting stars sweep across the universe, colliding in results a brand new galaxy. And what? How many galaxies? Funny you ask. Guess about 100 billion, but then wider stance, our own Milky Way has maybe 400 billion stars and 200 billion planets, but that's nothing compared to IC 1101. That galaxy has 100 trillion estrellas you can wish upon. A light year is not that close, 6 trillion miles away for us to walk there or even hop on the next space shuttle leaving town. That would take 37,200 years, leaving off a century or round up a decade. Did you get all that astronomy? This is why I love looking up at the stars. Be careful when lost. Find that north guide with divine direction. So then stare at my constellation glow in the dark stickers on my ceiling. I am in a rocket that gives infinite life on our quest to reach the unknown while we float. One of these days we will arrive, and how powerful we prayed. A brand new planet to breathe and notice the breeze. And which way does the wind push next step? How is the earth like your idea of a rubber band? And let's see if we could pull as fast as we can within this room, in this house, on this block, in this hood, in this city or state or country, or smallest grain of sand on beach in spectrum of any cloud and then beyond. Don't worry so much. Enjoy all the moments. Be excited you are alive. If not, no point in your resistance to gravitational force. Let all that air rise and not drown. But maybe the answer to astral projection is quantum leap of confidence in dark matter existing, whether you believe or not. Did you get all that knowledge that you needed to know, just in case a spaceship break that bad luck attached to your dome? Fascinating. We are so far from the edge of outer space, but when we look up at the stars, the twinkle is in our hearts, anywhere in the cosmos, already home. I see. Thank you. Woo. Yo, facts of life, yo. I mean, someone was playing basketball and he was like, nah, I ain't trying to hear all that. It is what it is. So amazing. Thank you guys. I got 8 minutes, so let me try to rush through. I don't want to rush through things. I want to feel gracefully pleasant as we are here, because we're amongst family, right? Like, I mean, we building. And thank you to everybody. I mean, this is just so amazing. It feels so, doesn't it feel good to have poetry all up in your ears? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, oh my God, it's such like a refreshing thing. So just thank you for sharing your words. I don't know if I ever had other opportunity. I did a 10-minute feature, which was amazing. Big up to everybody for that. Thank you to Barbara Walters over here, who's my faithful host. And that was great. But I was previously published in the night and another edition of Great Weather for Media. And y'all saved me whenever I'm down and out. And I'm like, oh yeah, oh yes, thank you. Somebody believes. So this one was previously published in another Great Weather for Media. So Sword Split. Shout out to Brookside Gardens in Wheaton, Maryland. This is the literal setting for this. So when King's Blood, Cafe Noir, Caravel, late single tulips, waterfall petals on top of hairy chest, that's when you know the Lord been with you since. Nothing ever been done bad if can able to scoop up this muse in time to save own life. Before you spark that, walk around, examine surrounding, everyone else searching, but there you sit, rewriting deadly derivative of lonely algorithm, functional futuristic litness, unfortunate frazzle, considerable spazzle, shoulders streak stress, best of skinny me, lift head and see more than LOW, L's from O left a double two, nothing back with nothing left, holla at local benevolent, blessed recognition, it's scratch, still switch, when is the transition, perfect temperature, heights of horizon despite clouds, thriving, parching soil, wrinkling skin, rough palms, side by glide, hug me back, kiss me first, you on top, take me there, now we here, smile so bright, why heart dark, hold us close, please don't leave, all about, once often, then never, but how do we still reach, meet me someday, be waiting on notice in falta de lo juro, I swear, no one else sight from distance finally paid attention so could ask question out loud, so special, one of you, el todopoderoso de crowd, ponte a llorar, sit and pose for pretty picture, laugh, wow, I see. Thank you, that was another one. All right, I don't know how much more time I got, but I just kind of want to rock into some other joints. Let's see if we can do it. Avanza, you're moving too slow. Buyer's market, but you got no product. Novelty, nostalgia, so why bother when replacement shoes already available? Pick your poison, pour precisely, move wisely, but no place safe. Guaranteed late, so why haste? We're not there yet, Queen. The palace of possibility, but still haven't tapped into unlimited alchemy. Please allow the opening of the feature. Never rush, hurry up. Never chase. Story Avenue will forever shine. Please celebrate the slow revealing, hoping your good morning followed by a greater evening, lifting the razor blade, impeding your wisdom of speech, giving a short leash. Sheesh, not shush. How your man look? Street, straight, tell you no lie. Essential why, quarter bomba, bam boom. Nah, I mean catching your overstanding, not sitting down, clap for justice with freedom on emergency. Olvida eso, por favor. Or yeah, ascending, no longer pretending. Olvida eso, por favor, yeah. Grinning as you share your suffering, not bitter, better, my brother. All right. And I guess let me just bang maybe uno más, and then we're just gonna go with there. Embers, before we back into that, big up to Dave Valentin, amazing, one of the illest flowers of all time. And I guess this is for him. So let's see if we can do this. All right. Embers sizzle on autumn leaves, smoker's jacket. If can open eyes, might have a new beginning as spring moonlight blesses footprints on path towards the infinite summer. Hope you land in September, happier, healthier, and higher than ever. Such primitive fancies or pure imagination floating on the back of a hummingbird towards a winter sunset. With luck, these little sunflowers will have a reunion after the sun shower. Space cadet, if can see tomorrow, receive that morning light with joy to keep on keeping on. Count at least 7 stars over Viejo San Juan. March on Old Hill. Vaya, ahora es. Échale humo for all of us loquitos out way past bedtime for proper beauty sleep. This is in memory for all those times long gone. But does it take a coconut dropped from the 6 train, leaving Whitlock, curving over Westchester with the Hunts Point horizon, plus a firecracker bang to let you know, yeah, you got there, already arrived in real life. Bang. za, zo, zoo. Que by said, what you gonna do? See it. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate y'all so much. Always. So much love.
Let's hear it for Anthony Morales. And let's hear it for everybody that read today.